A lot of people ask me, why don't I listen to music while I'm driving? There's a few reasons for that. And without getting too religious, let's just say I like to enjoy silence. I spent 11 months of my life in solitary confinement during a 4-year prison bid. And I really enjoyed the, I'm gonna call it a privilege of being isolated from people. I could hear myself think. I could be in deep thought for hours and not be disturbed. And this is kind of I don't want to call it a curse, but it's a gift and, a bad thing to an extent, because now I'm in the real world and I'm not able sometimes to be, I guess, somebody that's easy to communicate with. Let me just say that. During this time when had the pleasure of being by myself, isolated, when I say we, I mean me, I had the opportunity to enjoy learning about life after death. I enjoyed learning about that, despite it being a very scary condition and situation to be in. Knowing that your soul is about to leave your body. This is a very stressful thing to think about. At least for me, it can be, right? It's not how I'm going to go that really bothers me. I'm not worried about how I'm going to go. I'm worried about when. And whether you're a person that is afraid of it or not, the question that I have for you watching this video is, why do you go out your way to impress people that won't even be with you when you are in that grave? Why? We go out our way to be extravagant in so many different ways that you can't possibly even imagine sometimes. I see people that have $50,000 vehicles, but you don't have $50,000. Your jewelry is worth quite a bit of money, right? But you don't have money. I look at people's circumstances and their conditions, and I really don't feel bad for certain people sometimes, man. Most people I don't feel bad for. I really don't. We go out our way to impress people, to try to look a certain way, when these people will not be with us when we are in the grave. See, the one thing about wealthy people, like extremely wealthy people, they're not trying to be braggy and boasty. They don't really care about the look. They're not going to go for the Mercedes Benz. They're going to go for the Toyota. They're not going to go for the McLaren. They're going to go for a Honda. They're not trying to impress people. They know that these vehicles, for one, are going to give them issues. But if we have something that is trustworthy, right, like a Toyota or a Honda, that's going to get us from point A to point B, why not take that option? We're not going to take it because we want to look a certain way. It's quite pathetic. It's quite pathetic, And the more I grow, both in age and experience, the more I realize is that when you are excelling to a certain, direction, right? You got your foot on the gas. Nobody can stop you but you. Nobody can stop you but you. You're not going to let what somebody else thinks of you to determine whether or not you're important or not. My importance is not relied upon material. My significance and my status is only held into consideration, high consideration, only before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and my parents. If you're not them, you're nobody. But hey, everybody wants to be somebody. And when we want to be somebody, some certain people, we have been brainwashed. We will go through countless, and I'm talking about countless unnecessary spending of money, well, just being wasted, just to try and look a certain way. And we know who I'm talking about. We're talking about the people that look like me. I'm not saying white people don't do it, but we're talking about us. We're talking about us, right? But we want to celebrate a Black History Month at the same time. Wallahi, I've seen a video come on my algorithm, and this woman, she was talking about how the mosque or the masajid, they need to be acknowledging Black History Month. For what? For what? We want to acknowledge Black History Month, but Ramadan is within days. We are more concerned about what the kuffar have now established for the Muslim than we are about our own month, our own holy month that's coming up. But we're so concerned about a Black History Month. This is no place for a masajid. Going back to the original statement of this video, being more concerned about what people think. The true Muslim doesn't care about what somebody, a real man, period. You shouldn't have to be a Muslim to now have this understanding that you shouldn't worry about what people think of you, right? But speaking from my standpoint, and for, you know, a decent portion of my audience who are also Muslim, we do not care about what the people think of us. We know where we are at, you know. I will not be the guy that will fall victim and trapped into what society determines or deems to be acceptable, you know. And for the people that are watching, understand, when you have this mentality, it's going to be very, very rough for you. It's going to be difficult for you. It is all to see if you really believe. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in numerous verses in the Quran, do you say you believe and will not be tested? Do you say you will believe and not be tested? Do you say you will believe and not be tested? The prophets and the messengers are the best example. They were tested and tried with things that we would have folded under. So the more Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves a person, He tests them. He tests them. And wallahi, sometimes I fear for myself that the test that I'm going through isn't significant enough. Does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala love me? Perhaps not. I hope that He does. I hope that He does. Be a person that stands on all principles at all times. Do not let society be the cause of your destruction, because society, doesn't matter where you go in the world. You can be in the Middle East, you can be in the far west, you can be in the far east, you can be in Antarctica. They're trying to send people to Mars. It doesn't matter where you go. The fitna will still be there. Not until you return back to the grave, you are answered, you're going to be questioned. That is where you will truly see the fruits of your labor, or if your fruit went bad. Don't let that one go off your head. Maritime Fitness Team Workhorse, you know what's going on.